Right now, picture this. Your favorite song hits that one perfect swell in the chorus, and out of nowhere, your arms erupt in tiny little bumps. Every hair on your skin stands straight up, like it's trying to get a better view. You didn't decide to do that. Nobody taught you how. It just happens in under a second, faster than you can even name the feeling. And here's the strange part. That reflex has almost nothing to do with music. It's older than music, older than language, older than fire, maybe even older than humans as a species. Some scientists think it's older than primates altogether. So here's the real question. Why is your body still running a program built for a version of you that hasn't existed in over 1 million years? Why hasn't evolution deleted it? To answer that, we don't start with people. We start with fur. Almost every mammal alive has a tiny muscle attached to the base of each hair follicle, called the arrector pili. It's microscopic, it's involuntary, and its entire job for tens of millions of years was to yank hair upright on command. Think about a cold, wet dog shaking off in a doorway, fur suddenly standing on end. Or a threatened cat, back arched, tail puffed to twice its size. That's the same tiny muscle, the same reflex, doing two completely different jobs at once, trapping a layer of warm air against the skin when it's freezing, and making the animal look bigger and more dangerous when it's scared. One reflex, two survival problems, solved with a single flick of muscle. A cold squirrel and a frightened porcupine are running the exact same subroutine. So is a startled cat, a shivering wolf, a threatened chimpanzee with its shoulder hair bristling. Different animals, different situations, same tiny muscle firing underneath it all. That's ancient hardware. It didn't evolve for humans. We just happened to inherit it, wiring and all, long before we ever had a name for it. Now fast forward to 1872, when Charles Darwin sat down to write The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Animals. Buried in that book is a section on what he called horripilation, the technical name for hair standing on end. Darwin described porcupines rattling their quills in rage, and terrified men in battle, hair visibly rising on their arms and the backs of their necks. He was cataloging the exact same reflex in a lion and in a soldier, side by side. Darwin's conclusion was almost funny once you sit with it. Humans, he said, retain this reflex as a vestige, a leftover. We don't have the fur anymore. We just kept the button. He'd watched it happen to himself, cataloging his own arms in the middle of writing about fear. Here's what makes this so important. Somewhere between 1 and 2 million years ago, our ancestors lost almost all of that body hair. Anthropologists like Jablonski have traced it to a brutally practical trait. Thinner hair let early humans sweat and cool down while chasing prey across hot, open savanna for hours at a time. Losing the fur was a survival upgrade. It's part of why humans became such absurdly good endurance runners in the first place. But the muscles stayed wired in, the nerves stayed connected. The whole ancient circuit, cold, fear, adrenaline, hair stands up, kept firing on a body that no longer had any hair worth raising. Picture the mismatch, a follicle with almost nothing attached to it, still getting the exact same signal a woolly mammoth-era ancestor's follicle would have gotten, still tensing up the exact same tiny muscle for exactly 0 thermal benefit. Think about that. You are walking around with a reflex built for a coat you shed 1 million years ago. It's not broken, it's just obsolete. And obsolete reflexes are supposed to fade out over time. Evolution is usually ruthless about cutting dead weight. Except this one didn't just survive. It got recruited for something completely new. In 2001, neuroscientist Robert Zatorre at McGill University ran people through a brain scanner while they listened to music that reliably gave them chills. That exact goosebump and shiver combo. What his team found, published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, was startling. The same brain regions that light up for food, for sex, for addictive drugs, the reward and pleasure circuitry, flooding with dopamine, were lighting up during a chill from a song. Say that again, slower. A muscle built to keep an ancient mammal warm and threatening is now firing off inside one of the most intense pleasure responses your brain can produce. That's the chimpanzee cat-porcupine reflex, wearing a tuxedo to the symphony. Zatorre's team also noticed something else. The chill doesn't hit randomly. It tends to land right at the moment a song does something your brain didn't quite predict. A sudden key change, an unexpected pause, a voice cracking open on a high note. Your nervous system reacts to being surprised in a good way, almost the same way it once reacted to being surprised in a dangerous one. And it turns out, not everyone gets this experience the same way. In 2015, researchers Mitchell Colver and Amani El-Alayli at Washington State University found that people who score high on a personality trait called openness to experience, people who are more imaginative, more drawn to art and new ideas, report music-induced chills far more often than everyone else. Your goosebumps aren't just biology, they're a little bit personality too. Here's what makes this so strange. This reflex now fires for things that have zero survival value whatsoever. A choir hitting a perfect chord, a movie's final twist, a stadium crowd singing the same song at once, a wedding speech that lands exactly right. None of that threatens you. None of that is cold, and your skin still reacts like it's 1899 and something just walked up behind you in the dark. So here's the full picture. It starts with a muscle inside nearly every mammal on Earth, built to trap heat and fake size in the face of danger. It becomes Darwin in 1872, writing down the exact same reflex in a porcupine and a terrified soldier. It becomes a species that loses its fur for the sake of sweat and speed, and somehow keeps the wiring underneath. It becomes a brain scanner in the year 2001, catching that same ancient circuit lighting up the reward center of a human mind mid-song. And it becomes, right now, you, sitting somewhere, feeling a chill roll up your arms for a reason that has absolutely nothing to do with survival. So the next time a song, or a scene, or a sunset gives you chills, that's not your imagination being poetic. That's a fur-raising reflex built for a coat you don't have anymore, repurposed by accident into one of the most human experiences there is, the feeling of being moved by something. We spent millions of years using this reflex to survive the cold and scare off predators. We've spent the last couple hundred years using the exact same wiring to cry at movies and lose it during a key change. And somewhere in between, without ever redesigning a single muscle, we quietly repurposed a threat display into one of the highest compliments a piece of art can get. It gave me chills is, underneath it all, your body admitting it briefly mistook a song for something that mattered to its survival. Maybe that's the real twist here. Some of what feels most human about being human is just old animal software, running a program it was never designed for, and somehow doing its best work because of it. If this one gave you actual goosebumps, that's kind of the whole point. Stick around, there's more of this weird, ancient wiring to get into.